right. Oh, I can cut that out. All right, so the first question is, how has this law affected you?
Not too much really, because it mainly focuses on semi-automatic rifles. I don't have any semi-automatic rifles.
And you're also not 19 or 18.
Yeah, no, over 18 or 21, because they raised the purchase age from
Right.
18 to 21 for semi-automatic rifles.
Okay, and what do you think about this law?
I think it's not going to do much good,
Well,
because bad people do bad things, and there's tutorials online that show you how you can make firearms
right.
with stuff out of it. You can make a PVC bow and arrow from $10 of stuff at Home Depot.
Okay, and what do you use for self-defense in your home?
I have a Keltec KSG shotgun.
Perfect. And okay, so obviously, do you own a gun? And if so, how many?
I have 4 guns.
4 guns. Okay.
I have 1, 2, 4 now. Yeah.
Okay. And do you think this law is constitutional?
No.
Okay. And do you think law enforcement should enforce this law?
No.
Perfect. Thanks for your time, buddy. Really appreciate it.
Hi, I'm Felicity Ferguson, and I am conducting a visual video or
An interview.
an interview, a visual interview. I don't know, an interview about 16. What is it?
Washington 1639.
Washington 1639's gun law.
All right. So the first question is, how has this gun law affected you?
Personally, it didn't affect me too much because I don't own a gun. But I was recently in a relationship with somebody who was very pro-gun and owned many guns. So it did affect my daily life in that he was buying more guns, bringing in more guns. When this was passed, a lot of gun owners were kind of, I wouldn't say freaking out, but started to take steps to protect themselves, I guess. So the parts that were going to be banned or the things that were going to be banned, that rushes gun owners to rush out to the store and buy more of those parts before they're discontinued, before
Right.
these rules get too stronger. So it did affect me in the fact that then all of a sudden, even though this gun law was coming into place, there were then more guns in my life.
Right.
So
Okay. And what do you think of this law?
I think that it's a great law. I personally I was kind of skewed on guns. I do believe that guns are a good thing to have for self-defense. I believe that if a person wants to have a handgun in their house or on their person for self-defense, I completely support that. If you want to shoot a gun for sport, I support that. But I think that the extended background checks, the extended longer waiting periods, the age requirements, I think those are really, really important. Because a lot of people argue, what are we going to do? This would have happened, regardless. The shooting that just happened, the guy entered through a cut in the fence. So people who are pro-gun are you can't stop it with metal detectors, you can't stop it with
Right.
this, you can't stop it with this. But I think that it's worth a shot to try. I think that if we can keep guns out of 19-year-old kids' hands, if we can do mental background checks, because people who have mental illness and people who you can really look at, you don't need to give that person a gun. I think that we should absolutely change our criteria and restrict our laws a lot more.
Okay. What do you think of the training requirements for this law?
The training requirements. I don't remember the training requirements.
So basically, it states that if you want to buy a semi-automatic rifle, you have to have training on that weapon. What do you think about that?
I think that's a great idea. I think that anybody who is, especially coming from a relationship where he was very pro-gun, I think that anybody who even has a chance to be around a gun should be educated. While I'm not extremely comfortable with guns, I know how to shoot a gun. I've been to a range multiple times. I know how to shoot handguns. I know how to shoot rifles. I know how to shoot many different things. Solely because if I were to be in that situation, I would want to be the most educated. And I think that
Right.
even if you don't own a gun, if somebody in your home owns a gun, you should be trained. I
Okay.
think that training is extremely important.
Right. Okay. And I think you mentioned this earlier, but do you own a gun?
I do not own a gun, no.
Okay. And do you think this law is constitutional?
Yes, I do, because when you really think about it, the Constitution was written how many years ago? Guns were very
Right.
different then. The world was really different then. So I think that part of the Constitution and part of America is that it's going to have to continue evolving. Yes, you have the right to bear arms. Yes, that is the Constitution, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, you do have the right to bear
Yeah,
arms.
it's the Second Amendment, yeah.
I was like,
I was like,
Declaration.
well,
Yes.
I was like, what did you say? I couldn't hear you. But all right, go ahead.
I do absolutely believe that that it is, you're right to bear arms, but I think that when they wrote that, they were talking muskets and war fields, and shooting was happening in people's front yards, and it wasn't mass shootings, school shootings.
So you think it was
kids.
for a different time?
Exactly. It was
Okay.
very, very different. So I think that for it to evolve is so very important to our Constitution because America evolves. So
Right.
our Constitution should evolve as well.
Okay. And do you think law enforcement should enforce this law?
Absolutely. I think that there should be limits with law enforcement, but I do absolutely think that they should enforce this law. I think that if it's not enforced, then it's not going to get pushed because pro-gun people are very pro-gun. And so sometimes you kind of, as frustrating as it can be, I think that it is law enforcement's job to enforce the laws, even the laws that people don't want to,
Right.
just for the overall general safety of the population, of the world, of everybody, and for the gun owners and for the non-gun owners.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.